How are we all doing since the full moon 2 weeks ago? The one where Pluto, Saturn, Mercury, Ceres and Chariklo all sat with the sun during an eclipse. The world rose up and responded to the climate change catastrophe in Australia and the decimation of our wildlife. Harry and Meghan split from the UK. Putin announced reforms that will see him swapping power roles in Russia for years to come. President Trump's impeachment trial began. There were protests in Iran. And Scott Morrison was ridiculed round the planet for his dedication to the coal mining industries. But now, the new moon in Aquarius, Saturday morning, is planting the seed for an upcoming shift that's seeing all our outer planets and a whole focus move into air and fire signs, and in particular, Aquarius, the sign of the intellect, independence, and technology. We are moving from a material world into a global community that values freedom over financial wealth. Interesting, there's no oppositions with this moon, meaning there's nowhere to project our fears or fantasies. The veil has been dropped, and we're turning towards self-reliance and self-responsibility rather than external validation and excess. All the planets are occupying less than half the chart, and they're bundled around the sun and moon like a little nest. This is the birthing of an intellectual shift. Aquarius is radical and already partly in the future. And this new moon wants us to find new ways of thinking, to integrate what's gone down and turn it into a new form that's more inclusive. Mercury is nearby, ready to bring big picture issues into everyday conversation. And this is also a lunar new year. It's the start of a new 12-year cycle, the year of the metal rat. Rats are industrious, busy, quick thinkers. They don't seek the limelight for their achievements. They just get on with the job. So this is a really good start to a global reboot. What could go wrong? The fly in the ointment is a misfiring Uranus, and it's indicative of the complex relationships in this setup. Uranus is the planetary ruler of Aquarius, and it loves to interact with it. But it's currently in the zodiac sign of Taurus, where all its Uranian upheaval is smashing broadside with the new moon and its home turf. This brings up a clash between science and tradition, idealism and practicality. Uranus has been locked out of the loop, and now it's pounding on the door like a maniac. This kind of frustration could literally make the Earth move. It builds up an urgency and tension with no clear outlet. It's almost shattering. Areas that will be hit will be technology, social media, cyber attack or the spread of viruses, finances, employment, and of course, the climate, the planet, and the future. This little planetary nest takes some of the heat out of this Uranus strike, and it sends out a wave of protest and rebellion. People power is a great tactic under these conditions, but you have to do it smart, with a group mind, not mob rule. We're trying to raise the vibration here, not descend into brutality, and a blocked Uranus can be really coldly reactive. It's fair to say that Aqua's idealism will still cop a persistent backlash from the conservative stronghold. But we could also see more keepers of world wealth break free and embrace change, investing in the future instead of clinging to the past. Big business and industry will have to adapt to new values and practices, or they'll die. There's also a side issue going on with this new moon that exposes something dodgy. Venus and Neptune are together here in Pisces, where they're extremely and supremely lush and comfortable, like a dreamy bubble bath. However, Mars here in Sag is powering an undercurrent into their relationship that might not be too healthy. The truth is getting blocked or distorted. Promises fall short, and a clash of beliefs and values undermines progress. These guys can put a cloud over the whole thing. There will be clues of impropriety if you care to see them, but you can be really mesmerised by shiny things in this atmosphere, and the rhetoric is full scale. Mars, Mercury, Jupiter are all in on it. Look behind the words to the behaviour and the patterns, because words and actions won't match up. Don't let the truth sink. Hold the space and observe. And because the universe never lets you down, there's planetary support for justice to prevail, eventually. Although Mars is messing with deceit and delusion, Mercury is rallying people to get on their feet, to share ideas, get the debate started. Aquarius is linking people together, so there's loads of community support, direct action and truth seekers geared up over this new moon weekend. If you feel called to a group or a volunteer program, it's a really auspicious time to find your tribe. I haven't mentioned Saturn and Pluto, but they are still driving a combine harvester over the coals in Capricorn. Saturn is now charging ahead of Pluto, about to pass Cariclo and then Ceres, before crossing into new territory in Aquarius. On that final journey through Capricorn, Saturn will be working with these beautiful, wise goddess energies on accountability, negotiation and sacrifice, and it's not going to give second chances. Over the next 3 months, the Saturn, Cariclo and Ceres conjunctions will highlight the mistrust we have in our leaders to genuinely respond to our welfare. How has self-interest affected the balance of power? Who is guiding our new leaders and taking care of our elders? How can we live in harmony with the earth and with each other to fulfill our duty to future generations? We're learning the limitations of our current authority figures and looking for more authentic responses. Australia's astrology is still boiling hot with karmic significance, and this new moon lands on the eve of the anniversary of white settlement. It's time for a rethink on the impact that had on our Indigenous population. Overall, the picture is about changing the way you think. Aquarius is a fixed sign and it can be really stubborn, but this is a new moon. It's new energy and new beginnings, and it's ripe for collaboration instead of competition, consulting instead of assuming, and reaching common ground through consensus rather than through force or domination. Yay! I'm Merryl Key from my mystery school and the Heart of Tarot. You can find me on my website www.merrylkey.com. Like, follow, share, subscribe. Thank you everyone.